Hello, so today I wanted to go through a few decks that have a real retro feel to me, and they're somewhat nostalgic. Most of these come from the 70s and a few from the 80s. I got my first tarot deck in the late 1980s. The first deck I want to talk about is one that was featured, at least part of it was featured in a James Bond movie, Live and Let Die. Jane Seymour used these cards and she played the character Solitaire. It's called the Tarot of the Witches, and it's by Fergus Hall. And here is the Fool and Chariot, the Devil, and the Sun, which I think has a very 70s feel to it. The Ace of Swords. Let me see if I can. I'm going to have to shove these down a little bit. The Five of Hearts. The Eight of Pentacles. And the Ten of Wands. In the suits, they each have the same. Throughout the suit, the same thing is in the center of each card, so they're not really illustrated in any way. Here is the Valet of Swords, the Knight of Cups, and the Queen of Coins, and the King of Wands. Let's see, I'm going to space these because I'm going to lay cards on top of these cards as we go. So that's the Tarot of the Witches, and really I got introduced to that deck through the movie, and I was always a James Bond fan, especially was growing up in the 70s. I just thought those movies were awesome. Now the next deck is just called Dame Fortune's Wheel Tarot. And I don't even know if this comes from the 70s or 80s. It just has that vibe for me, and that was the reason I bought it, is because it reminded me of that time period. And so here's the Fool, and the Chariot, the Devil, and the Sun. And as you can see, it looks like it's really quite heavily based on a Marseille deck, or even a Swiss old-style deck. But then it's been very brightly colored with what I would consider 70s colors. Here's the Ace of Swords, the Five of Cups, and the Eight of Coins, and the Ten of Wands. A little bit of a different illustration there with the snake holding up the center. The others are fairly lighter weight. Here is the Knave of Swords, the Knight of Cups, which I think he looks a lot like Newton for some reason, the Queen of Coins, and the King of Batons is what they call it. And so that's Dame Fortune's, it's called Dame Fortune's Wheel Tarot. And this next deck has been around for quite some time, and it's the morgan-greer Tarot. And I actually avoided getting this deck for quite a while, and then I just kept seeing it, and I was like, I should probably pick that up. And I actually do like it. I don't use it that often, but I have used it once in a while. Here's the Fool, the Chariot, which I actually really like their version of the Chariot, the Devil, and the Sun, the Ace of Swords, the Five of Cups, the Eight of Coins, and the Ten of Wands. And again, you can see this is very influenced by the Rider-Waite. Here's the Page of Swords, the Knight of Cups, Queen of Pentacles, and the King of Wands. I kind of do like it in that it does seem to be a more closer up and personal painting of the people that are in the cards. Now this next deck is one that I got fairly early on when I first started reading. I don't have a box for it. I don't know. A lot of the really early decks that I bought, I didn't keep the boxes because I was an idiot. This is called the Witch's Tarot. It has a pentacle on the back of it, on it. Here's the Fool, the Chariot, the Devil, and the Sun. Here's their Ace of Swords, the 5 of Cups, the 8 of Coins, and the 10 of Wands, which is very different. Their imaging doesn't match a system that I'm familiar with. Now the court cards are really strange. Each member of the court, it's the same card through every suit, just colored differently. So Princess of Swords always looks like this, just the sky is a different color, the tree might be green instead of brown, but it's always a woman with a man's hands and they're holding whatever the symbol of the suit is. And same with like the Prince of Cups. It's exactly the same card, same clothes, same everything, just the coloration is different. So, and here's the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Wands. So that's the one thing that is somewhat unusual with this particular deck, is that all of the court cards have the same picture. It's just got a different color. Now the next deck, I actually just got this, and the reason I did get it is because it just screamed 70s to me, and I had to have it. Here's the Fool. It's called the Cosmic Tarot by Norbert Losch. Here is the Chariot, the Devil, and the Sun. Here's their Ace of Swords, 5 of Cups, the 8 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Wands, which for some reason to me looks more like a 10 of Swords card than a 10 of Wands, but that actually is the Wands card. Here's the Princess of Swords, the Prince of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, and the King of Wands. Let's see if we can move this just ever so slightly. Probably not. Oh, yeah, that's not going to work. There we go. And so that's the Cosmic Tarot. The one thing that doesn't show on here, the cards that I had pre-selected that I use for most of my selections, a lot of the majors have a face in full view, like this. It's on the cover. And like for the Magician, he has like these weird beams coming out of his eyes, and it's not just that card. He does the Hierophant, which is also called the Pope in other decks. He has these beams coming out of his eyes, and there's several others that have that. Interesting painting. Now the next, or illustration, the next deck is a remake of a very popular deck in the 70s. This is called the New Palladini Tarot, and Palladini is the guy who did the Aquarian Tarot. And so this is basically like his new version of that tarot. It's quite a bit different. It's much more colorful, and you get more full body profiles and not just faces although some of the cards are very similar. So this was the Fool and the Chariot, the Devil, and the Sun. These are also more high gloss color, or high glossy finish than the Aquarian. It's the Ace of Swords, and here's the Five of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Ten of, calls them rods in this deck. Here's the Page of Swords, the Knight of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, and the King of Rods. And finally is the deck that this one was somewhat based on, and it's called the Aquarian Tarot. It's by the same artist, David Palladini, and these are very, very 70s, if you ask me. Here's the Fool, and the Chariot, which doesn't even, I don't know how you get Chariot out of that. I guess these are supposed to be wheels on the side. Here's the Devil, which is very different from his new version. The Sun, which is just an awesome 70s sun look. The Ace of Swords, the Five of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Ten of Rods, and Page of Swords, the Knight of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, and the King of Rods. The only thing I really kind of don't like about this deck is the font used can be really hard to read. Like Knight looks more like a K-A-I-G, and that is that an A or an H and a T. It's a really bizarre font, but once you get used to it, you can kind of read it. And it's a completely different font on between the trumps and the minors. And that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed it, this little walk down memory lane, and enjoy.